just discussed medical records. And having gone through medical records, this session we shall be discussing medical records, policies and procedures. Medical record policies and procedures. Does anyone, do we have anyone who is familiar with policies and procedures? Policies, yes. Melvin.
Yeah, a policy is a framework in which you manage a certain situation.
The framework, thank you. Process of managing procedures. So we shall be discussing some of the policies and procedures that we can use in our medical practice. And we shall look at a number of them and see how we can use this in our medical practice. Who prepares a new patient record, for example? What system is used for filing and retrieving medical records? And who is allowed to make entries? We shall also look at what procedures we use to indicate the need to follow up on patient referrals, and what security procedures regarding medical records, and how do we maintain patient confidentiality. We shall get into some groups. I'll have 4 groups, and we shall use those 4 groups. We shall do a gallery walk, and this is how we shall do the groups. I'm going to put a piece of paper on the table, and you will pick one of this. If you have played poker, in poker we have hearts. Which other card do we have in poker? We have hearts, we have spades, we have diamonds, clouds of flowers. So I want you to pick paper. If you have flowers, how many have flowers? Those are 3. How many have spades? Douglas, what do you have? Diamonds. How many have diamonds? 3. How many have spades? How many have flowers? What do you have?
Hearts.
Hearts, yes. So we shall have a group of hearts, a group of flowers, a group of spades. Okay, let's have, where are the hearts? 2. These are 2. 3. Okay. So the hearts will discuss the first, will be the ones to start us. Who prepares medical patients? Who prepares patient medical records? Flowers. Oh, maybe is alone.
No.
Yes. We will start off with the next one. What system is used for filling and retrieving medical records? Diamonds. Those are 2. They will discuss the third one. They will write on the flip chart the third one. And the last group, spades. You don't have. Okay, let's rise. Now, before we go there, I want us to discuss the rules. This is what we shall do. I'll issue each group with a pen. This is a pen for hearts. The hearts are red. Diamonds, flowers, and spades. So, sorry, there are 3 groups. So we shall still use the 3 groups. I think there are some numbers here missing. So this is what we shall look at. This is what we shall do. So we shall go to the flip charts. We shall start with the first group. We'll start with the first flip chart, and we shall look at who prepares a new patient record. And I'll give you half a minute to just list what who prepares a patient record. Then the second group, which is a group of flowers, will look at what system is used for filling and retrieval of medical records. And then the third group will look at who is allowed to make entries into that record. And then we shall, after that, I'll alert you once the half a minute is done, and then we shall rotate on a clockwise way. And at the end, we shall have discussed all the 6 items. So let us proceed.
Are we flowers?
Yeah. Yes, you handle that. So this is what you do. You list what system is used for filling and retrieving medical records. What do you have? If you have alphabetical, numerical, or something else, you can list. Filling or filing? Filing.
When they go in the state, before they refer you to the doctor.
So you have, you've done 20 seconds. I've given you an extra 20 seconds. Then,
According to insurance company.
subject. So can we move to the next flip chart? And if you find, let's move to the next flip chart. Let's move to the next flip chart. Yes. I should move to the next one. If you find a point that you agree with, you can mark against it. Yeah.
Or something else.
If you find that the point that you are already agreeing with, you can take that. Okay, let's move to the next flip chart. You didn't have anything, Okay, let's move to the next. Let's move to the next on a clock in a clockwise manner. Douglas and team. Let's move to the first one.
Only people like handle patients. Is access to? Restrict access to patients.
Let's move to the next flip chart. Let's move to the next. Douglas and Tim, let's move to this one. See what you have. If you agree with what they have put, just mark. If you have an extra point, you can add. Okay, let's move to the next. Let's move to our last flip chart. Let's move to the next one. I think we have all gone round. Melvin and Tim, let's move to the next. Move. Let's be seated. In the same groups that you would wired. So welcome back. What we have gone through are procedure, policies and procedures of maintaining medical records. The first procedure that we looked at was who prepares patient records. We have seen that we have listed who does prepare medical records. Customer service assistant, registry staff, doctors themselves, nurses, lab technician, x-ray attendants, and lab. So are these the personnel that that maintain records in our business, in our medical institutions? Yeah? Sam? Yes. Is there any other that we need to add here? Melvin?
Maybe a radiotherapist.
Radiotherapist?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a bit different. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes, you are. If there is a mortuary,
Yeah.
so we need a mortuary
More.
morgue attendant.
Do you call a dead person a patient?
If you call a dead person a patient, that's a
Former patient.
former patient. Okay. They are still patients because they are customers to the hospital. Yes.
I don't know, maybe they don't found that are correct. Physiotherapist. Yeah.
Physiotherapist.
Yeah.
The person who
Okay. Now, the most important point here we need to understand is that we need someone assigned the responsibility for maintaining records. That's the most important point that we need to record. If it is a customer service assistant or a doctor themselves or the nurses, the most important thing that we want to have in our medical institution is that there is somebody who is assigned a specific duty to maintain records. So what system is used for filing and retrieving medical records? So we say alphabetical, numerical, subject, date, serialization, and date of birth. Again, most important point here is that we need to have a way of maintaining and retrieving records. The institution will always choose the one that is most suitable to its circumstances. If the person, you can choose to use alphabetical, you can choose to use numerical, or you can choose to use a mixture of any one or two. Now, at this point, does anyone feel like this is appropriate to the institution? And do a thumbs up. Okay. Is there anything that you think we can add here? No. Okay. Move to the next. The procedure of who is allowed to make entries to the record. Again, the person who is allowed to make entries needs to be documented, so that why is it important to have responsibility in terms of who is allowed to enter records? Why is it important? Massive.
For accountability.
For accountability. Very good. Why is it important?
It's important because of, for medical legal reasons.
For legal reasons?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. The next procedure is, what are your security procedures regarding medical records? Medical records are important records. Melvin has just said they are important for legal, for accountability. So they need to be kept in a safe place. So you say that they should be kept in a safe cabins, only specific staff are allowed, electronic and digital backups, SOPs for maintaining confidentiality, and use of codes. This is very important, and the reason why we want to do this is because medical records are sensitive. Again, you also want them to be kept in a private place so that not everybody can be able to access medical records. Yes. What is SOPs?
It's standard operating procedure.
Standard operating procedures. Thank you, Melvin. Stephen, has that been responsive?
Yes.
Lastly, I've been signaled that time is almost there. So we have, what procedure do you use to indicate the need for follow-up on patient records? You need to put a red sticker on the form. You need to have another follow-up list, and you need to issue cards. So at this moment, I'd like us to conclude. And as we conclude, I would like to find out, are there people who have, do you think that you can use some of these policies and procedures in your institutions? Is there anyone who feels like they can use this process? Yes.
Yeah.
Which specific one?
I would like to use a red sticker
Red sticker. Okay.
in the file so that we know we have to follow up the result.
Okay. What caught your attention in terms of this policies and procedures? What caught your attention? Some?
The part for ensuring that patient confidentiality is maintained.
Is maintained.
Yeah.
What caught your attention?
What caught my attention is on issues of securing confidential information regarding a patient's record.
What caught your attention from this?
That issue of
The more
confidentiality,
parts. Yes.
that issue of confidentiality is very crucial.
Thank you very much. Yes, Douglas.
The morgue attendants.
Morgue attendants.
Yeah.
What about morgue attendants?
Yes, they live with patients and they can enter some information.
That is new information to you.
Yeah, that's
Oh, great. And we're learning something every day. Vincent, you're raising your hand.
Only 6.
Yes, thank you very much. So we shall end our session there. Thank you very much.
For Pius. Yes.
His level of confidence is very high, and his presence is felt in the whole activity. Yes.
Yes.
I think he has mastered the use of the gather walk very well, so he did it here. The instructions were very clear on the use of the gather walk.
The training was fantastic. Keeping on
Yes.
He was very consistent in his presentation. That he showed someone who understands the topic well.
He was relaxed.
Either that or he fooled us. Yes.
Voice projection, eye contact was on point.
He smiled also. Yeah, he smiled. Yes.
He seems to have well prepared himself to present in that particular session. You could see some prior planning in what is when you begin the presentation.
Anybody else? Okay, so I smiled, we made a transitional statement at the beginning, we were talking about this, now we're going to do this, which I loved. Use of the card suits to create the groups, well prepared. Coach the group when you're out there regarding what to do by giving examples. I think it was for one of them, for the system, so you started to identify, it could be alphabetical or whatever. Once everybody got back in here, there was a very good introduction as to this is what we did and now this is what we're going to do here. Great sense of humor in response to the question. Very personable. I really liked how you concluded, what policies or procedures would you want to use, what caught your attention. Those were excellent. The thumbs up, was that responsive? The summary of what was important, and then drawing out the importance from the participants. So I thought all that was excellent. Recommendations.
I only think that to begin with, he appeared not to be sure with that method of categorizing groups. He kept on wondering, hats or which one is not here?
It threw me off guard because I had prepared for 11, 12, and then we were less. So
Yeah.
I think that put me off guard, and I wasn't even remembering it.
Spades? Do we have spades? No spades? Yes.
When we were outside there, one of the groups did not have anything to say regarding the questions that were there. And I thought that is probably they were not very clear on the instructions. So probably Pius should have established why they had not written anything and probably try to explain exactly what is expected of them. And I saw one of the questions were not very clear, where we were being told about the different systems of keeping records. I think it's somewhere there. For our group, it was a bit confusing because we ended up copying what was written as one of the options.
I see.
Probably you could flip the charts.
With the actual.
Yes. So we found ourselves copying those options down there. So it was a bit confusing. We were not very sure. Do we copy that? Do we come up with other suggestions? Yeah. So probably you should have elaborated exactly what was expected.
Yes.
You know, I think he was trying. So this is a difficult topic. And for everybody in this room to be on the same page, they had to give us a 5-minute lecture.
What?
A 5-minute lecture. Because people are not on the same page.
Yeah.
They don't know about medical records, they don't know how it's done.
Right.
Who is allowed to put stuff in it.
For this group.
For this particular group.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's up to him.
Yeah.
And he didn't go into lecture mode.
Now, let me point out, I guess I assumed, made an assumption, I never articulated it. You are standing in as the participants who would normally be in the class. If you don't know the answers, don't worry about it. No? Nobody's judging whether or not you got the right answers or not. The big issue here is the facilitation process, that's all.
And also, when I asked him what he saw, I realized when he was going through them, he just did that very fast and moved to the next because he wasn't sure what was it. I didn't know what
She was simple. My time is up.
Yeah.
One of the things I noted that I didn't receive like the card or the categorization. Spread, hats. So when he was saying spread and I was among the people who didn't get the paper.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. So,
So that's why there was a problem.
yes.
Okay.
So if it was another participant, maybe he would have withdrawn and seen like, oh, I'm not supposed to participate in this. You should always, after you've distributed, you ask, is everyone having a paper or?
Yeah.
Then when everyone is then spread and go this side of who doesn't have a paper?
Good.
But you know, you might be one of the distractors. There are those people who want to come there. They always one. They go to number 2. So you find one group has more people than the other.
Now you see, Stephen's done. He doesn't have to worry anymore.
Yes.
So he's going to be happy. Joyce?
I was working because we had three programs. We had to, one of us had to return one paper. Maybe to get distracted. The other thing that I noted with gallery work, you have to make sure you cannot engage participants like that, then you take a lot of time and one of the flip charts is not presented. Because that's what has happened to our case. If you've noted that, actually, I've just told you, I thought he had forgotten because I've asked him whether he's noted with which group. Keeping the information confidential. So you've taken all that time outside there. There's some parties, assuming you are not doing it as a team, it's one group that was doing that. They would just feel it. So you are just wasting time outside there. So it's good also because this team is the one that came up with the points. Don't take too long with the points. At least you make sure you go through everything. Then at that point, that's when you try and get what you need to understand.
Very good, yes, yeah.
And then let me
Mercy.
I think you did very well. The only thing that I found is when he was trying to control people verbally. And it just gave the idea like, oh, you're having something that thing. You know, when the time is over, because he was keeping on telling, especially Marvin was always getting stuck in one place. Move. So maybe if he had something like, that, you just
Feel free to use anything that I brought.
I wanted to ask, when you come back from the gallery, you have these pictures here. And we had maybe I believe we had exhausted writing all this. Do you need first now to go back to the participant to ask them whether we have some more that we plan?
Yeah. It's a nice facilitation technique, but at this point, we wouldn't want to do that. No, unless there's something glaring that is missing. Yeah. Yes?
I want to make an observation. I think that Pius was right. A bit of lecture really is needed because the introduction is needed for what you're going to do. For example, I don't have any knowledge about what the facility is going to talk about. So really coming in and giving a task immediately might not be a way. That's why I think it was nice at least to give a background of what you're going to. So I think when we come there, it's important that we put even some visual, maybe to explain that this is for just 2 minutes, 1 minute. It doesn't have to mean that is lecture. It's also to prepare the learner for success. You are preparing me for success. You can prepare me for success immediately. I see you in front of. So I think that people should not fear use of lecture even for 1 or 2 minutes, if it can be very valuable to the participants.
I do not consider giving instructions lecture. Where I see lecture is where we start to be explaining to people something they may already know. That's where I get concerned. If it's something nobody knows, well then who else can speak but you? But yes, you're right. Other recommendations? Okay. Avoid over-explaining. And I think you really did get kind of, we've already discussed it, very confused when there were no spades. Before going out, if, for example, this is the very first time a group is going to do a gallery walk, they don't know what's expected. So it would be helpful to just say, in the gallery walk, you will have small groups, you will have a pen, you will have a few minutes to write your responses to each of them, just so people know. And then ask for examples. For example, in your facility, can somebody tell us who does prepare the new patient medical record? Okay, that's what you would be writing. Whoever in your facility does that. What system is used in your facility? So can somebody give us an example of what you're using? So go through each question so people, again, this is modeling, so people know, all right, that's what we're looking for. Let's see, it does this. I don't know why. Okay. Let's see. Oh, don't forget to introduce yourself. When the groups came back, there was no need to have them sit in the new small groups. And that took time, and it was confusing, and it didn't serve any purpose. So that's really not necessary to do. And then make sure that you do get through all the flip charts and you read out everything, because in at least one of them you didn't. You talked about it, but you didn't read it out. So we want to validate the work that people have done. Anything else? Are you comfortable with this feedback?
Very comfortable.
Okay, great.
I make a pledge to use gallery in every facilitation session.
All right.
So help me God.
All right, we pass your papers over to Pius. Should we